Hello. I wanted to ask you a question, but I don't want you to answer it yet. I want you to answer it at the end of the video. And the question is, do you love your dog? That might seem like a very straightforward question that may have a straightforward answer. But I want you to think of the term love in a way that is measurable and meaningful from your dog's perspective. Now, firstly, let's look at the word love. Let's define it. So one definition is a strong affection for another, arising out of a kinship or personal ties. So we certainly feel a kinship with our dogs, of course. But another definition of love is unselfish, loyal, and benevolent concern for the good of another. And that's the definition I really want to focus on. Especially that word loyal. We expect our dogs to be loyal to us, but there should be some reciprocity for our dogs that we provide as well. And what I mean by that is we should be loyal and unselfish towards our dogs as well. Now, there are millions and millions of bored, lonely, frustrated and neglected dogs, just like the one that you heard in the introduction and you can hear throughout the video here. Across the world, dogs are in that position right now. They're being left at home alone for hours and hours and hours, into the evening, for days sometimes, not even given a second glance or any sort of meaningful interaction from their human family, their human social group. And dogs are extremely social creatures, and they've been domesticated over many thousands of years to want to prefer to be with us, humans. But so many are isolated from their human family group every single day. So I wanted to focus on the word love and help you to redefine it from your dog's perspective in a measurable and meaningful way from your dog's perspective. So first of all, let's look at the first letter, L. I want you to think about this concept. L should stand for letting your dog be a dog. When we understand what our dog is as their own species, then we start to understand what they need mentally and physically on a daily basis. And one of the most important things is to be able to let your dog be a dog and be able to perform the behaviours that they instinctively need to perform on a daily basis. Also those ones that are, they prefer to do. That might be digging, that might be sniffing, investigating, foraging. It might be tugging at toys. They might like to pull and chew at toys. They might like to dig. Those sorts of behaviours that they prefer to do. But of course, they may need to do those because that is in their nature to do so. So understanding what your dog needs on a daily basis to help them live a meaningful life, a fulfilling life, one that's rewarding from them, from their point of view. But also understanding that when we provide our dogs with the things that they need on a daily basis, that provide them with mental fulfilment as well as physical fulfilment, we're also then reducing the likelihood of us, the humans, falsely accusing our dogs of having behavioural problems, despite there always being a valid reason for your dog's behaviour in any everyday situation. When we're looking at the letter O in the word love, I'd like you to think about the concept of olfactory stimulation, and that ties in really nicely with letting your dog be a dog. Let your dog have a nice sniff when they're out on a walk. That's when they most need to catch up on the local neighbourhood news via their social media, which are the lampposts and the rockeries and the garden beds and those lovely little areas that they like to have a good sniff in to catch up on what's going on, to find out who's been there and then, of course, leave their mark as well. But the most important thing is when you're not at home is to make sure that your dog has some lovely activities to do that get their noses engaged. And that can be a range of things like scent games, like hiding treats around the house, wrapping treats up in an old pillowcase or a towel or something like that. Even smearing some soft, safe food on things like you might have areas where your dog likes to sit down and rest. There might be a corner of the house. You can smear a little bit of peanut butter or soft, safe food on a brick or on the edge of a pot plant that your dog might have a bit of a wander around, and that'll catch their olfactory sense, they'll catch their sense of smell, and that'll make it so much more rewarding for your dog, and they'll then start to have a little bit of a hunt around that area again, looking for another treat on another day. So you can keep doing that and keeping your dog occupied and surprised during the day when you're not home. Now, with the letter V, regular veterinary visits, that is what I would like you to think of when you think of the letter V in the word love. And not just physical checkups for your dog, but also getting their mental health checked up on. And just a general behaviour screen, just finding out how your dog's mental health is going. And that also not just applies to young dogs and adolescent dogs, but it also especially applies to those older dogs, because dogs also can suffer dementia just like humans. So it's really important that regular veterinary checks are on the top of your list as well when we're thinking about loving our dogs in the right way that's meaningful and measurable from their perspective. And of course, the final letter, which is the letter E, is exercise. And of course, I'm not just talking about physical exercise, I'm talking about mental exercise, and that all ties in with the olfactory stimulation and letting your dog be a dog. Your dog's sense of smell is the most complex sensory organ that your dog has, and they really need and enjoy working that nose out every day with appropriate activities that get them really mentally stimulated and have their mental focus directed in a way that's productive and meaningful from their perspective. So after hearing all of this information and redefining the word love, if you like, in a more meaningful way for our dogs, from their point of view, I'd like you to then just ask yourself that question again. Do you love your dog? We'll talk again soon.